I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where tonight it'll be the stars and cars of the USFPRO Championship, coming to you from one of my least favorite racetracks, Road Atlanta, Brazelton, Georgia. See that part, the twisty bits there right out of turn 2? It's just dumb and needless. Just one section of curves, and you could even number them sequentially.
My favorite section of racetrack.
Mine too. Sounds like our lead broadcaster has a skill issue.
Lack of talent.
I'm going to throw you two both the hell out of here.
Salt is real.
James Watson, Patrick Byrne joining me in the booth. My name is Chris Graham. It is a pleasure having you come hang out with us. Qualifications are underway. Sam Carasala out on the racetrack right now. 2024 Season 2 kicking off with a good 27-car entry list. I tell you what, James, it's showing some growth in the series here. Now, obviously, pretty popular track on week 1, but still good numbers here to start the season off.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen not great participation from other popular tracks, so even still, this isn't anything to shake a stick at. Really thrilled to see that off of week 1, and hopefully this is something that we can build on throughout the season.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's a lot going for this series. And Bizzle, quite frankly, I think that's because it's one of the more fun cars to drive here on the iRacing platform. Open diff, I guess it is, at the back end of the car. 275 horsepower, just enough downforce to make you feel like you're alive. And just enough wing for Westshire to call you a cheater.
Yeah, these PM18s, they do have a limited slip differential. But everything else hits it spot on. In the grand scheme of open wheelers, they're not a very fast car, but they'll still blow the doors off of just about anything you throw on this track. And this track is wide, it's very flowy, and you can have a ton of fun here with a little car like this.
Yep, I agree with you. Just about everybody is on the racetrack right now, with the exception of Joe Heath in car number 13. Man, this is going to be a good field, though. Ted Burns, Sam Carasala, Ari Korkadilos, the top 3 in terms of the I rating. Everett Paddock, Alexander Wesley Hazelworth completing your top 5 on that one. Take a look at the numbers here. 76.02 I rating for Ted Burns. Sam's up to a 66.44 off a very strong season last year. Picked up a couple of broadcast wins in his sophomore season. May see something big out of him here as we're seeing Frank Wynn go top of the board, 1 minute 16.071 seconds. I tell you what, that run down the S's, as much as it drives me nuts, the way it is laid out, silly and named, when you get it right, it is a pretty spectacular set of corners as we're seeing Everett Paddock go to the top of the board.
They had to make it very curvy to discourage aircraft from landing there.
Yeah, well, that was the back straightaway at Road Atlanta. At one time, this place owned by the Whittington brothers of International Marijuana Smugglers Association fame.
I was going to say who used it for possibly legitimate purposes, but most likely illegitimate purposes, but we'll never know.
Allegedly. And not only did they land, they were landing planes on the racetrack.
Not small plane. They were landing 737s.
737s on the backstretch, which is curved.
But it's straight now. They straightened it long after they were using it as a runway. But it used to be a curvy backstretch here too. Which it just goes to show how long that back straightaway is here at the international configuration of this circuit, that you can land a 737 on it.
That is exactly right. Sam Karasala finishing up his qualification run about... Oh, gosh, let's see. Well, Ari Korkadilos is going to be your second quick timer, only 4,000s off of Ted Burns' quick lap. And Teddy B goes even faster on lap number 2. New quick time, 1 minute 15.460. Let's pick up Everett Paddock in car number 4. Looks like it'll be Jason Miller getting his lap in. He will be in the 9th position, at least as they stand right now, 1 minute 16.321. I believe it'll be Everett Paddock will be the last car to get a lap in. Joseph Heath is not on the racetrack, and with 2.5 minutes left, he is just now would basically have to start and be on track doing his outlap. Which we are not seeing him doing. So, oh yeah, there's the other part. When you finish landing the plane, the world falls off and you come screaming down the hill.
But when you turn the plane around and sent it the other way, it made for a really great ramp to get it up in the air. Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly. Everett Paddock's lap number 2 does not score. He will be 1 minute 15.900 seconds. And Joseph Heath will not get a lap in the books here, but the clock will run out. So Ted Burns and Ari Korkadilos will make up the front row for tonight's race. That pretty monster lap there for Ted Burns. A third of a second faster than Korkadilos.
Yeah, old Teddy picking up where he left off. This is the perfect track for Ted. You know, it's got a great mix of technical full blind corners with the first section, and then a whole lot of speed and just nailing your entries and exits.
Yeah, it really is fairly technical. One of those places that you kind of just have to get right to turn the ultimate lap. But to be competitive, Bizzle, you really have a lot of variability in what you're going to do here. The drivers have the ability to take some differing lines and attempt passes in maybe not traditional passing zones.
Yeah, these cars being lower power means this track is incredibly fast for them. It almost runs like an oval in some of the faster corners where you can, especially turn 1 there, that's a 2-lane turn 1. You can take that side by side. The outer line's going to get the run up to that first little chicane. The inner line is not going to have the run, but it's going to have the preferred exit out of that chicane. So this track is absolutely fantastic to run these little open wheelers around.
Yep, it's going to be fun to watch, that's for sure. The final 15 seconds will tick off the board here in qualifying, and we will get ready to head cars out to the grid. And that clock has expired. So as soon as we start to see some of the cars on the grid, we will get everything queued up and give you tonight's starting lineup. Have to say a huge thank you to the track devs at iRacing for just absolutely blowing up all the cameras that we had built for these places. Doing a little bit of testing of stuff earlier tonight, and basically everything we had is just a pile of hot garbage. So fantastic work on that one there. I'm not sure how the world moves in space-time, but it did. Field is getting out onto the starting grid, so let's give you tonight's starting lineup. On the pole, with a lap time of 1 minute 15.460 seconds, it is the Downforce Racing number 1 of Ted Burns. Lining up to his outside, out of the Great White North in car number 3, about a third of a second back, it is Ari Corcadilos. Row number 2, Frisky Frankie inside of that row. Frank Wynn, another Canadian, piloting car number 6. To his outside, the TNT Racing with Downforce Racing number 4 of Everett Paddock. Row number 3, Sam Carasala in the Air Alaska Team Watson Racing setups number 2, lining up alongside of the law firm Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. Bob Poplet out of Canada, lining up inside of row number 4. To his outside, the NASA meatball of Brian Labarge. Jason Miller in the PPG Shell V-Power number 7 inside of row number 5, alongside of the Philadelphia Flyers CCM Hockey number 11 of Rod Eskew. Row 6 tonight will have Daniel E. Smith out of Florida, lining up alongside of Nietzsche Camargo in the Team Watson Racing setups number 14. Grayson Gerloff from Texas in the Arrow McLaren number 12. Alongside of Joseph Heath in the Pennzoil Yellow Submarine. Couple of IndyCar liveries on these cars. Making up our 7th and final row of the grid. Joe Heath looks like he will be did not start in this one. You see these drivers trying to get some heat in the tires, taking a look at the conditions. Very humid. Only 68 degree track temperature. It makes me kind of wonder, James, is getting tire temperature up going to be difficult for these guys?
Yeah, you don't have a lot of time to do so, and like we're all familiar, you need a lot of time to put in a lot of heat on these. Otherwise, you're gonna be in trouble. Like, it really doesn't seem like it, but the pace lap just isn't enough time to put up a whole heck of a lot of heat in. Like, it's good enough, but you still need a lot more to work with.
I mean, Bizzle, I would imagine we're going to see the lap times plummet by probably around lap 5 or lap 6. And then for a large portion of the race, these Cooper tires are very hard, and they take a long time to come in.
Yeah, towards the end of the race, as we usually see with the PM18s, and I still expect it even with all the weather changes, is you're going to get your fastest lap in the last 3 or 4 laps of this race. Once that fuel tank gets empty, the tires are finally hot and soft and up to temp, that's when your fastest lap is set. The whole race is just getting there, though. You have to drive around on these things that are hard as a rock, don't want to grip the racetrack, and you're sliding around for most of the race. You see Ted Burns there aggressively weaving, trying to just get heat into those tires.
Yeah, James, the dynamic track surface has changed the way these cars behave in a big way. I would imagine, I mean, we joked about I don't wreck when I do this, but the tire weaving is going to come into play here as Field is off the final corner. Oh, fantastic shot. Green flag goes in the air. We're underway, kicking off the season at Road Atlanta.
Awesome launch by Ari Kokadilos, but Ted Burns got the inside, and he's going to have the lead completely by the time we get to the first chicane.
Big hop there for Teddy. Oh, we got one car going around, and it's going to be Daniel Smith. Looks like Brian Labarge may have had an issue as well, possibly one for Sam Carasala as well.
I think Carasala's all right. He's still up in the 5th position. I don't think he lost very many spots. Back up to 4th now. They're rattling side by side.
Take a look, see what happened here to Daniel Smith. Down to the inside, just a little bit of a slide.
God, that's a fantastic rear wing. Not sure I could say that on the air, but yes, very much so.
Yes. Well, I was just going to say, we're just going to leave that right there. You can go back and pause the replay and screenshot it if you want. Top 3 starting to check out here. Sam Carasala 3 seconds back of Burns, Corcodilos, and Paddock. And he's kind of running all by himself. Good second battle shaping up here. Alexander Wesley Hazelworth leading that pack through. Man, tight battle there between Bob Poplet and Frank Wynn.
I have a nice set of noise-canceling headphones here. I can hear the wind outside going crazy. We are under a tornado watch here in Northeast Ohio after storms that have taken over most of the Midwest today. Finally getting to the final state of the Midwest, and I don't hear tornado sirens yet, but we're about to get one here on this track. I mean, these guys are flying around this place. Who was that? Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, the law firm, swinging the rear end all the way around coming out of turn 1.
Yeah, he was almost a tornado himself. Speaking of tornado, exorcism cam, yeah.
God, James, that was 2 good segues right back to back, man. That broadcasting school's really paying off for you. Oh, man, Brian LaBarge, big time sideways. Slide over and pick up LaBarge. He's going to have to contend with Jason Miller and the AJ Camargo as Ari Corcodilos sets a new fastest lap of the race. This entry to turn 1, oh man, Miller right there. You feel like it's a spot where you can make a move. You get a great run off the final corner, and turn 1 is just not a smart place to attempt to pass here.
No, because there's always a huge chance that someone could go full Pippo Durrani and yeet you into the outside wall. So you're just kind of hoping for the best.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it either. I'm still bitter about it.
We were set up for 2 years of great photo finishes here at the end of the 10 hour.
We were robbed.
Okay, can I be the antithesis to that though and say Ricky Taylor's move was just as boneheaded as Pippo's was?
No, because I'm a Wayne Taylor fan, so you can...
What lost
Ricky Taylor straight-lined this. That whole section, he just straight-lined to the bridge.
Yes, but it made for a great finish.
What lost any credibility was Durrani was like, oh, there was someone on my outside. Oh my goodness!
Oh, wow. Involved.
What a huge wreck!
Big hit there, and Grayson Gerloff may have gotten away with that.
I don't think Brian LaBarge did, though.
No, let's take a look at this one on the replay. No contact. Gerloff just gets it off the racetrack. A big hit for Brian LaBarge. And you can see the heavy damage on the left front corner of LaBarge's machine. He's off into the hinterlands.
The netcode gods are owed something by that number 12. You do not get that lucky. You do not get pounded like that and come away with it with no damage.
Yeah. Wow.
The netcode gods giveth and the netcode gods taketh.
So off the final corner here, working lap number, I think it's going to be lap number 6 going up on the board. Excuse me, lap number 5 going up on the board. Ted Burns barely holding off Ari Corcodilos. It's neat to watch how they gain ground in some places and they lose it in others. And that's just preference for I'm good in this section, I'm not as good in other sections. But you watch it, that gap, it just expands and contracts, and it makes you feel like if you're the chasing car, hey, I got a shot. And then you get to the section you don't like and the lead expands back out again.
Yeah, and you're like, well, shucks. Yeah, and you get those ebbs and flows a lot more in open wheel cars because of the quick acceleration. The Constantina effect is always a huge thing in any type of open wheel, really.
You're not missing anything through the field, by the way. Bob Poplet holding about 3/10 over Frank Wynn, another 3/10 over Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. We'll go back, let's see. Well, no, maybe not, because these guys are absolutely nose to tail. Rod Eskew, Jason Miller, kind of within 2/10, same kind of story, but right here at the front of the field, Corcadillo setting fast lap after fast lap. The problem is you have to be able to get around Ted, and that's not an easy thing to do.
No, it is not, as we're well familiar with over the last year plus of watching Ted in this series. You're going to need like the greatest set of corners and a whole lot of luck if you're going to make that pass and make it stick. Even with the draft help coming through the back straightaway.
Oh, and here comes the run. Corcadillos has the spot right now, and he's able to clear. He doesn't even have to go full Ricky Taylor.
Ooh.
Almost seen a little bit of, it kind of looked like jet wash that Ted Burns was driving through there. The car just got squirrely, at least to my untrained eye. It almost looked like both ends lost grip.
Yeah, it might have been him sending it in just a bit, trying to see if he can stave off the inevitable. Well, at least we know whose rear wing that is.
Well, yeah, same thing for Ari up front here as well. Almost like Teddy B just not wanting the run in that time. Almost disorienting how up and down this is. It's like you crest the hill after the bridge, and as the car settles, it's like it hits a dip, and it like you really kind of squat into the seat as Corcadillos again goes fastest lap.
Yeah, the very hilly nature of Brazelton, Georgia just makes this track an absolutely beautiful place to run around and race. In VR, this track is just glorious to be at. And I've never been to this one in person, but it's been very close to the top of the list of tracks I have to go and visit. There's not a straightaway at this place. There's not a single section of track that is the same elevation from entry to exit. You just can't ask for more than that.
Wow, great run off the corner there by Ted. He completes the pass well before they get to the chicane. Corcadillos actually may be able to attempt the dive bomb into the corner. You're not going to see it on lap 8, but you might see it on lap 18 there, James.
Yeah, I wonder if that's exactly what he's doing, trying to get a bit of a playbook going on what can and can't work, since this is clearly going to be a mano-a-mano battle unless something crazy happens.
Yeah, the gap's sitting right now at about 2.3 seconds back to Everett Paddock in third. And Everett, I mean, he's there, but he's not in terms of outright pace. I mean, you're talking the difference is in the hundredths of a second over the 10-lap average. So right now, Brian Lafarge, Grayson Gerloff, and Joseph Heath all out of this race. Gerloff still on pit lane. interestingly, Gerloff did not complete the lap. So he will be behind Brian LaBarge in the running order as it stands. This battle's good. We got another good one back here, too. Poplet, Wynn, and Hazelworth. This is 5, 6, 7 in the running order. And James, one of the things I really love about the PM18 series, the USF Pros, you kind of end up with people that you should be around on pace. And it leads to maybe not battles for the win, but kind of 4 or 5 different battles for class victories, it almost feels like.
Yeah, you could say there's Indy Pro 2000, Indy Pro 1500, Indy Pro 1000, and so on and so forth. That's what is awesome about this series. Like you said, you know, you're always going to have someone to battle. You're not really just kind of glorified hot lap session. You're being able to battle someone.
Go back to this lead battle. It's just too good. Very reminiscent of what we saw with David Porcelli and Ted Burns, Carter Lundy and Ted Burns. I mean, James, I can remember when we started doing these races, Greg Seitz would just leave. Everybody else was running for second because Greg showed up and was half a second plus faster every single lap. Then we kind of got a period where you had Everett was up there running for the podiums week in and week out. And then things really kicked off, and we got this nice handful of guys at the front that, quite frankly, just put on an absolutely incredible show every week.
Yeah, back in the day, draft didn't matter. Like, even if you had Greg Seitz draft, you wouldn't have him for very long. He'd just pull out of it himself. But now, unless something crazy happens, there's a mistake along the lines, we're going to have 2 to 3 cars battling out for the win week in and week out, which is incredible. And all you really ask from a racing series is to have some sort of doubt on who's going to win. Looking at you, Formula One.
Yes. It might be one of the best shows on the planet, but I don't know. For my racing dollar, I'll take these guys any day of the week. Although, you go to your local short track, the super late models are going to be cool. I don't care if that's pavement or dirt, by the way. The super late models will be cool, but the best show of the night is going to be the 4-cylinder class or the Crown Vics or the Street Stocks Bang Bangers, whatever you want to call them. Bizzle, that's the show that I like to watch because it's usually 20 cars just absolutely beating the crap out of each other.
Not only that, I've always been a fan of... now, NASCAR fans going to hate me. Take away the horsepower. As an engine builder, I say the opposite. Give them horsepower, break some stuff, bring it back to me, I'll fix it. But, as a racing fan, take away the horsepower, make these guys fight for every ounce of momentum they bring. So, you cut the corner a little too shallow. You lost 2 miles an hour. It's going to take you the whole straightaway to get that 2 miles an hour. You don't have the power there to mask your mistakes. That's why at the Daytona 24, when you go for all 4 days, your best shows are on Thursday and Fridays when those Miatas are on.
Yes.
Everything else is just a spectacle.
The bump drafting train of Miatas as Bob Poplet makes the swing around Hazelworth. That was impressive. The bump drafting trains going through the corners at Daytona was mind-boggling to watch. You see Hazelworth duck out there at turn number 1. This is where I don't like that even to try to sell the dummy. Unless the guy ahead of you makes a mistake through the S's, it's just time you're giving up. You're better off to stay in line and get the great run out of the S's here and into that long back straightaway. Oh, Hazelworth is right there. Up under the attenuator of Poplet.
Oh, here it comes for the move.
Interestingly, Frank Wynn decides not to dive out. Hazelworth gets the job done, and now here comes Frank Wynn. He's going to have the look inside. Whoa, that was so tight. This three-car battle absolutely raging for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Happening about 15 seconds back of your race leaders. Ted Burns has opened up the gap to, well, he was opening up. Yeah, there it goes. Up to about 0.4 of a second over Ari Corcadilos. But, James, I don't know if it's changed, but the number was kind of 0.7 of a second. If you could hold it there, you were still within draft range.
Yeah, it's still pretty much the same. Honestly, maybe even like a full second. So, not a whole lot to work with. Gonna need a lot more than that to get out of the draft range.
I believe it was it last year that we saw it? The pass coming out from under the bridge into that final corner. The start-finish line is basically right at corner exit. But Carter Lundy attempting and I think completing a pass. This was one of the races, possibly even, that Lundy and David Porcelli crossed the line 1,000th of a second apart.
Yeah, that was wild. That was one of the craziest finishes we've ever broadcasted. It was very unexpected, too, because you didn't think you'd be able to pull off a move like that, but he set it up perfectly. What wasn't perfectly was Ted getting a bit of a wiggle right there.
Well, that's something where you really got to be careful as we get down to 6th to go here, Bizzle. Any little mistake is enough to either catch somebody up or lose the spot. And depending on where you make that mistake, it could be race over if it's on the last lap.
Yeah, a big one is that final right-hander before you get into the back straightaway. If you take that wrong, you lose all of your momentum, and you're just going to get absolutely freight trained going down that back straightaway.
Brian Labarge commenting that was at Road America. Lundy and Porcelli were separated by 1,000th for second place back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, it also happened. Brian's correct, but it also happened here, too.
Yeah, it was, I think it was in 4 weeks, the total time separating Porcelli and Lundy for 2 second places and a win was like 9/100ths of a second or something stupid like that. It was crazy how tight those two ran together, just week after week. And it helped that both of those guys were carrying around bowling balls in the driver's seat with them and just absolutely did not give an inch.
No, they did not care. They were going to fight for everything. There was absolutely no quit in either of them, and it made for some of the greatest shows we've ever seen.
Grayson Gerloff getting back on the racetrack, by the way, so he has gotten ahead of Brian Labarge, but he is 7 laps behind the race leaders. Seeing AJ Camargo and Daniel Smith may have had a little bit of a comeuppance. Coming up on Rod Eskew. Oh, little contact! Please, no Punterino.
You do know what it says on the back of Daniel Smith's rear wing. I can't blame Camargo at all there.
Friendly fire.
Darren Fahey is checking in. Yes, looks like clocks have changed in the USA, and I've missed racing the SOF. Yeah, sorry, buddy. But the time slot doesn't change for you guys, though.
The good news for you, Darren, though, is we now race No, yeah, you're right. It doesn't change.
Because it's off of UTC
I was
time.
gonna say it would be an hour earlier before you have to pick up your kids, so you can hang out an hour with us. But I don't. Maybe the times do change in Australia. Maybe they have like a Phoenix situation where it changes for some of them, but not all of them. I've never been there.
No, I have not either. I don't know that I will get to Australia. That is a long time to spend on an aircraft.
Yes, here we go. New South Wales, Victoria, Tasmania, and South Australia does observe daylight saving time, while Queensland, the Northern Territory, and Western Australia do not.
Wait, he's saying it's racing 2 hours earlier for me. I'm confused.
I wonder if it's because of the dateline crossing. Because the dateline is between Alaska and Russia there in the Pacific Ocean.
Okay, I haven't updated it, but we do actually have a clock. And it cycles through the international time zones for us. You'll see them pop up there. Ignore the data of when the next broadcasts are. Or at least some of them, anyway. I haven't updated the USF broadcast yet.
I'm not understanding this either, but I guess it makes sense. How Australia observes daylight saving time causes the 3 standard time zones in Australia to change to 5 time zones in Australia during the daylight saving time.
Okay.
Did they make it up as they went along? Because that just feels like they made it up as they went along.
You gotta remember, Australia comes from the same circumstances America does, and we've been making it up as we go along for the last, 300 years? So I can't imagine they're doing it much differently.
Brian
you make a lot of sense there.
Brian Labarge is yelling at us in the comments saying, pass for the lead. Yeah, they've been doing that a lot, actually. Ari Corcadilos has led 3 laps. Ted Burns has led 15. So a total of at least 5 lead changes, I guess it would be. 4 lead changes, because Teddy led from the pole. But down to 2 laps to go. They're going to come down under the Fox Bridge. And they will see the white flag this time by Ari Corcadilos. Holds the race lead, but it's not by much over Teddy B to turn 1.
You wonder if he made that move a little too early?
Brian says 2 to go, no more clock talk. Yeah. All right, I'll give that one to you. Coming up the hill through the S's. For the final time, man, Teddy's starting to get aggressive. This just has the feeling of setup into that back straightaway.
Precisely.
Corcadillo slid ever so slightly, and I'll tell you what, Ted may have to work at it here to get this pass completed. Both of them had to let out of the throttle. Oh, they're right there, almost touching.
Come on, someone do the Ricky Taylor. Oh, he's clear.
What a pass by Burns. Here comes Corcadillos fighting back. They're going to go side by side through the final quarter. Checkered flag in the air. Ari Corcadillos wins at Road Atlanta.
What a finish.
Best track in the world, changed my mind.
I cannot. That was incredible.
I have an argument that I could make there.
And it will be incorrect.
Yeah, this speedway sucks. I know that's going to be your argument.
No, I would say anywhere but here.
Okay, Ben Carswell.
Possibly.
Noted Road America hater.
What a
this
finish.
This is Atlanta, Watson.
What a finish.
God darn it.
I was trying to bail you out, James.
It's an R and an A, okay? Close enough.
We're in Georgia, not Wisconsin. Two very different parts of the country.
And yet still
Allegedly.
somehow similar.
So the final cars have crossed the start-finish line. Let's give you your final race results. Ari Corcadilos by 67 thousandths over Ted Burns. Everett Paddock finishing 2.763 seconds back of your race winner, taking the final step on the podium. Sam Carasala and Alexander Wesley Hazelworth complete the top 5. 6 through 10 tonight: Bob Poplet, Frank Wynn, Jason Miller, Rod Eskew, and AJ Camargo. Second page of the leaderboard has Daniel Smith, Grayson Gerloff, Brian Labarge, and Joseph Heath did not start here this evening. Oh my goodness, what a show. What a race. Let's bring in our race winner, Ari Corcadilos. Congratulations, first and foremost, on the win. How did you come back from that? Because it was shades of Ricky Taylor was going to happen there at some point.
Well, I made mistakes during the race and all, but I think it helped that I was running lower downforce. It was more forgiving on the straights for sure. And then, in the last corner, he tried to go around the outside, and, I wasn't going to run him off either. I was going to be fair about it, and, we raced each other very fair there. So, yeah.
And how much fun is it battling a guy like Ted Burns? I mean, both of you guys were absolute rocket ships tonight, but you two just put on a heck of a show, and it was this constant back-and-forth battle.
Oh, 100%. It's nice, when you can battle with somebody cleanly without having to worry about, getting run off on the exit or getting pinched at the apex or, have to worry about wrecking it all, right? So, it was just a really nice battle. I'm definitely happy it came out. Finally had the track as well.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, it was an absolutely fantastic show that you guys put on. Are we going to see you run a full season in these cars, or is it going to be more kind of hit and miss?
It's going to be more if I own the track or not.
That's right. If you own it, yeah, I'll run it. I'll come on out. Oh, all right, that's fantastic. Good. You know what? I hope we get to see you a bunch this season because, man alive, that was a fantastic show. Absolutely incredible finish. Congratulations on the win. And before we let you go here, do all those sponsor plugs and shout-outs that you want to get in.
I don't really have any sponsors.
Well, I said some of the thank yous could be there too, but
well, I'd like to thank all the people that wish me luck. Mobin Khan couldn't make it out tonight. He had the PESC event, the Porsche event, so he wished me some good luck. So big shout out to him. Shout out to Alex Rassi. I was in a call with him. We were kind of talking the entire race. And just thank you to everybody that came out tonight. Especially Ted putting up a good battle with me. Being very clean again. So thank you.
All right, buddy. Well,
and thank you to you guys for hosting.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to check in with us here. Man alive. Good battle there between Ari Corcadilos and our runner-up finisher tonight, Ted Burns. Getting the job done here, coming home with a second-place finish. When you made the pass coming down the back straightaway, we said kind of Ricky Taylor-esque into that last chicane, next to last chicane, last chicane. Did you feel like, hey, maybe I have this, or was it like, I might have left the door open?
Yeah, I thought I could get it done, but I didn't realize I'd get to 10B switching back to the right as fast as I did, and I was trying to block his over under there, but I was too far ahead, and he was able to squeeze underneath, and it killed my run out. So Ari drove that really well. I thought I might have it in the bag, but he outclassed me a little bit there at the end. So props him for that. He drove a great race.
Now this is the second time in a row we've been to Road Atlanta, and we've seen that kind of crazy pass coming out of the final corners and under that Fox Bridge. Is that becoming something that you have to put in your bag of tricks and just say, look, I have to have that in the arsenal?
Yeah, it's a long time to wait for it. So if I was if I was in front, it's something you can think about if I'm getting past into that corner. But if I'm the second car in line, I don't think I'm necessarily going to wait to try and make the pass until 10B. I have to be aggressive going into the chicane to begin with. Kind of force the issue, and then as the leader, you can kind of dictate which side you want, whether you can get that over under or not. So. So I wasn't in front, so I had to go around the outside through 10A and beat him to the apex of 10B. But I got there too fast. Rolled too much speed through there, so that was my mistake and being too quick for once, and it ended up hurting me at the end. So it's tricky racing through that corner in Atlanta, but it's a lot of fun. It always leaves you guessing and having to make those decisions on the fly.
Well, and then we start to think about the championship a little bit here, because we're going to have a couple of tracks this season where the SOF might be a little bit lower than what we saw tonight. A 35.73 second place finish sometimes can be worth more than a win on those the lower SOF nights. This is a big night for you when you may not be able to make every race this season, considering the real world stuff's kicking back off.
Yeah, for sure. Going to get pretty busy here, especially the more close to the end of the season. So got to get the points when I can. So it's hurts missing out on a couple points there, but hopefully that's not the difference at the end of the year. Got to maximize every week I can. So happy to bring it home in the top two and not on the wrecker or a DNF this week. So that's the goal. Thinking towards the championship even through week one like this. So it's good.
All right, Ted. Well, congratulations on the podium here tonight, and do all those sponsor plugs and shout-outs before we let you go here.
Yeah, for sure. Got to thank Downforce Racing. We're working on a new livery on the car. It might be out next week, so hopefully, was able to send out this awesome white livery with a podium finish. So keep an eye out for that. But also, thanks to you guys for putting on an awesome broadcast. I love going back and watching them each week, and everyone for coming out and racing the series. Awesome to start off with 2 splits to start the season.
Yes, sir, it is, and thank you very much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us up here in the booth, and man, he loves watching the broadcast back. I don't know how much he's going to enjoy 8 minutes of clock talk, but let's bring our third place finisher up into the booth, Mr. Everett Paddock. And I tell you what, Everett, the car was good tonight, and I obviously not outright pace, but man, good show, good podium to start the season.
Yeah, it was. I was right there, but just not quite right there.
Yeah, it's a good way to say it. Does it mentally kind of tax you at all, because you see them start to battling, the gap's going to decrease a little bit, and then they single file out for a lap and just pull right back out again?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I was pushing hard, and I was like, I just need them to be side by side through like 1 or 2 corners, and I'll get in draft range, and then it'll be easy. Just they were smart. Never gave me the chance.
Well, it was still a heck of a run to start the season. A good points night for you as well to kick things off. Congratulations on that. And before we let you go, do all those sponsor plugs and shout outs you want to get in here.
Shout out to the National Racing Network. Thanks again for putting on another season of Indy Pro. And thanks to my TNT and DFR friends for their help. Great weekend, everyone.
Yep, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here, Everett. And there we go. Now I can drag you out of the booth. We'll go back to the scenic looks here of Brazelton, Georgia. And guys, we got the show we wanted to see here tonight. Bizzle, we'll come to you first. Wow, what an incredible finish between Ari Korkadilos and Ted Burns.
Yeah, that's the kind of finish you'd expect here at Road Atlanta, the greatest racing circuit in all of America. Where you just have those battles where you come down that back straightaway, you're drafting, you're side by side. There's a huge opportunity for the pass going to the left-right chicane there. And they swapped positions twice before they got to the final corner, a sweeping right-hander that allows you to get the run on the outside, and unfortunately not able to make the move by the start-finish line tonight, but just all the more reason this is the greatest racing circuit in all of America.
Yeah, okay. I will say, James, I think if the start-finish line is a couple 100 yards further down, we may have a different winner tonight, and that's just one of those deals that sometimes you're the guy in front, and sometimes you're the guy who's second by 67 hundredths.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It would have been a really interesting had Ted been able to get a little more time to get more momentum going. Definitely a benefit of real estate.
Yes, that is 100% true there. And great way to round out the week of iRacing broadcast. The Spec Corvette series this weekend is a little bit of a question mark at the moment. We're unsure of what the cell service is going to be like out there. And we produce from the East Coast. They're racing on the West Coast. You have to rely on the cell phone service that is baked into the cars to get us the signal. We will have that information tomorrow. You will see the posts get scheduled here on our YouTube channel if they're coming up this Saturday and Sunday from the Podium Club out in Arizona. Monday night, we come back with the Silver Crowns, 9:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. They will head off to the Kentucky Speedway. Tuesday night, it is another doubleheader. This iRacing Sprint Car Cup heading to South Boston Speedway at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Follow it up immediately upon the conclusion of that race, 9:45. The TNT Shock Series running one of their only road courses of the season, and it's the New Hampshire Motor Speedway Roval. Absolutely fantastic road course for these cars, and a good preview of what you may see coming up later this season here in the officials. That is the Week 12 race this year. Coming up next Thursday night, these Indy Pro cars, the USFPRO Championship, heads off to their first oval week of the season, USA International, down there in Lakeland, Florida, the late great USA International. Looking forward to that coming up next week. And oh, yes, sir.
My current employer at a Hyundai dealership, one of our warehouses is actually on the site of the old Lakeland Speedway for Hyundai Motors of America.
That's sad.
You can thank the Hyundai Motor Company for part of the destruction of one of the greatest short tracks in all of America.
Well, we can thank a lack of support for destroying one of America's better short tracks, but yeah, we won't get into that discussion now. I think we spent too much time talking about time changes. With that, it's time for us to get the heck on out of here because it's late and I need to go to bed. For Bizzle Watson and everybody else here at the National Racing Network that makes these shows happen, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, and we'll talk to you all either Saturday or Monday. We'll figure out which, but until then, have a great night, everybody.